Welcome to Visual Impact. I'm Paul Brown. Today we're going to see three brand new Sony cameras. We've had a really successful hands-on morning today, and we'd like to really get the opportunity to show you these new cameras while we've got the time. So we're in between, just had my lunch, and we're ready to rock and roll for the afternoon session. Hopefully another busy session for us. Anyway, so we've got PMW-100, the new NX30, and the FS700. So we're going to start with the FS700 first of all. The NEX-FS700, I think this is going to be a really popular camera. So it comes in two models. We get the FS700E, which is without a lens, and the FS700EK, which is with a 200 to 18mm lens as standard. So you'll be familiar with the design of the camera. It's very similar to the FS100, but there are two key features on this camera that make it really, really different. And the first one is that it's 4K ready. So right now it doesn't output 4K, but there will be a firmware update somewhere in the future from Sony, which enable you to take from a 3G output on the back of the camera 4K images and record off-board 4K only. AVC HD codec recording and records to either SD card or the FMU128, which is the 128GB hard drive on the side of the camera. Now, real big key feature, and what's been really, really popular this morning, has been the variable frame rate. So this camera in slow and quick function can record up to 200 frames a second in full 1920 1080, and in SD mode up to 960 frames. That's really quite phenomenal for a camera that's under £6,000. As I say, this morning this camera was really popular. Everybody wanted to see it functioning at the slow and quick motion, and really made a big impression. I think this is going to be a popular camera. If you've got any questions on this one, please give the sales department a call. Moving on to the PMW-100. Now, this really is going to be a camera to see in the marketplace. 50 megabits per second in a small camera size. Really lovely camera. Recording onto S/S technology, as I say, at 50 megabits per second, 422. It also has 35 megabits and also DV cam at 25 megabits per second. It's a single sensor camera, so a 2.9, so roughly a 1/3-inch sensor, but full 1920 1080. Again, familiar with the layout of the camera. Sony are really good at sticking with the layout and how to function the camera. The menu structure is the same as we've seen before on the EX cameras and other NEX series as well, and PMW series. Flip out LCD screen, viewfinder on the back, all play functions as well. One feature that does change on this camera, which you need to be aware of, is that we have just one single ring at the front for the lens, and this gives you an option with a slide here of either zoom or focus, not simultaneous. I do think this is going to be a popular camera. The 50 megabits per second really makes a big difference, and Sony's first time in the small handhelds with 50 megabits. I think it's going to be a great one. Finally, moving on to the last camera, HXR-NX30. It's a little baby camera, this one here. Really nice camera again from Sony. Couple of features that take my eye. First of all, when we open up the LCD panel, is a touch screen, so for playback and for setup of the camera. But also built in is a little LCD projector. So quite not novel really, but if you're in the field and you need to play back some footage, recorded on this camera, maybe you can project it onto the wall and see what you've shot. As before with this style of camera, we've got a little XLR connector block that sits on the top and fits into the hot shoe. It has a 96GB internal memory and SD capability as well. Night shot mode, so you can shoot in the dark, very low light capability. Now, the real key feature here is it has an optical image stabilizing system. Now, if you get your hands on this camera, take a look by shaking the camera and looking down the lens. You can actually see it functioning. It's really quite cool to look at. But at long zooms, really, really stable. So an ideal camera for VJs and for running around outside and taking really long shots with as well. HXR-NX30. So that's the three Sony cameras. We've had a great hands-on day, and we've got one more session to go. If you've got any questions or you'd like to give us a call, it's 0208 977 1222. If you want to drop us an email, it's sales@visuals.co.uk, and of course www.visuals.co.uk.